Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Knitting Posse. Nice to see you. I'm Kim.
I'm Lorianne.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Laura.
And today is Saturday, December 5th, here in rainy Connecticut.
Yeah.
We did have some snow flurries mixed in the rain this morning. That was exciting. So,
not down here.
Oh, no? No.
No.
Yeah. So I'm up more north in our town, not by much, but it's right where the weather changes. It's funny. It could be, a matter of a couple of inches of snow. So anyway, I hope everyone had a happy and safe Thanksgiving. If you celebrate that in the United States, I know I did. It was quiet, but it was lovely. And
ours was quiet too, but we still had a 14-pound turkey.
I had an 18-pound. I couldn't find anything smaller.
It was very hard to find a small turkey this year. So
we ate it all. Don't worry.
Yeah, we had lots of turkey sandwiches for a couple of days. So it was nice.
We don't like turkey left over. We like all the sides left over. So I just bought the parts.
That was smart. That was smart. But it was quite the different Thanksgiving, than in the past. And I appreciate this small group. It was much more manageable. And as my husband said, we saved lots of money too, because we usually host a lot of people. And that means renting tables and chairs. And so hopefully that money will go towards some yarn. Anyway, let's start off by talking about what we're wearing. And I'm seeing some nice sweaters. So Lorianne, what you got going?
So I am wearing my City Limits. That's called sweater by Tanis Lavely. I knit it last spring, and you can see it in an earlier episode.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's still on my list.
It was during my white phase.
Yeah, it's like Picasso. Lorianne, your screen is a little jittery, just so that's what I'm saying. Okay, good. Maybe the table. Anyway, Kate, I recognize that beauty.
Yes, do you recognize it? Mm-hmm. It's finally cool enough here to wear it. As Kim said, it's a rainy, like 38-degree day out. So I am wearing my Forager by Isabel Kramer. It is knit in Nature's Luxury, Town and Country Cashmere, and it is amazing.
It really is.
It is on heavy rotation here.
That's great.
So
good. Get your money's worth out of that one.
Oh,
right?
I definitely think I have already. So now I'm thinking of like, what other sweaters could I knit in Nature's Luxury, Town and Country Cashmere?
Me too. That thought's crossed my mind.
Yeah.
So Laura, I recognize that.
Yeah, I'm wearing my oldie but goodie. I've also worn this in a previous podcast. It's the Keller by Julie Hoover. And obviously I put my sweaters away for the summer, and I really dragged my heels in bringing all my woolies out. And finally, at some point in November, I kind of really made the full shift. And I wore this last week for the first time, and I forgot how great it is. And now I kind of like yours, although this is a Mayak Tibetan Cloud in the Wild Daisy colorway. And it's just like the perfect classic neutral sweater, and, just the beautiful details that she does. And I love it. So I've been wearing it a couple times since I pulled it out again.
That arm construction's really pretty, right?
Yeah.
Right down here. Yeah, I like that a lot.
So much of her sweat, I know a lot of us are big fans of hers. It's all about the simple, beautiful fitting details that,
Beautiful.
And I love the fit, and I love everything about it. And it's just the plainest sweater, but I grab it all the time. Goes with
that
everything.
Yarn is so yummy too.
It is. It's a sport weight, but it feels like warm, but it's light. This sort of twisted rib gives it a little bit of a thickness, like almost like a brioche, but it's so light and soft, and it's just gorgeous yarn, the Mayak Tibetan Cloud. So yeah, I love it.
It's a keeper.
Yep.
And I have on my terrazzo sweater by Petite Knits. I really like this sweater too.
It's beautiful.
Fun. And look at that, it's like surgeon's arms. Anyway, that's the terrazzo sweater by Petite Knits, and with the Noro silk garden, and spun right round
mohair here.
Mohair, thank you. Word, please. Mohair. And Laura, I think that I know your mohair had a lot of halo on it. This one's just right. So I think it was a matter of picking a specific mohair for this style sweater. So spun right round is really just the right halo for me. So in the future, if you're going to make a sweater with another yarn, I recommend it definitely. So, all right, let's go on to FOs. Lorianne, what do you have?
Okay.
Buckle up, everybody. A lot of gift giving.
It's been a while. We're a little bit, right? We are a little, like a week or so after we might have, and there's been a lot of downtime. I am gonna show you this on my head, but it's gonna be way too big. Well, I guess not.
No, it's cute.
I don't know if you can see it. It's multiple ribs. This is called the Hatch. It's by Emily Green for Brooklyn's Reed. My husband is the pickiest person alive as far as hand knits. He has very few, not because I wouldn't or couldn't, but because he's picky and he doesn't really ask for much. So I think he's knit worthy, but he doesn't want it. So why bother? But I have been in search of the perfect hat for him for a very long time. And I saw Kevin made this on Needles at the Ready podcast. And I said, you know, this, my husband also has a very large head. So, and he then likes it. He's very picky. Anyway, I ordered some Knit Picks Capra, which is gorgeous and probably the most affordable cashmere blend. It's 85 merino, 15% cashmere. He calls this black. They call it Eclipse Heather. It's like a charcoal gray. It's by Emily Green, if I didn't say that before. And it's a winner. Yay for he threatened to wear it. He took it off as I was prepping everything for recording. And I said, no, I need to record that. He said, no, you get, like, it's done. It's mine. I said, well, you can make a guest appearance. And then he threatened to make a guest appearance with nothing but the hat on.
That's an X-rated program.
That's for Todd, everyone. And it was, you know, when you knit a Brooklyn tweed pattern, you get so much content. They're very well written. They're perfect, basically, perfectly written. I always learn something. There was a new to me cast on for that hat.
What was it called? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Forget it.
It's like an alternating cable.
Oh yeah, knit and purl, so it shows up. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. I don't know. I have it within reach.
Don't worry about it.
I can take a quick peek. Anyway, I've never knit with the Knit Picks yarns before. And I really, this was very, very pleasant. Here it is. It is called the Rib Cabled Cast On. Okay. And I've been wanting to knit some of Emily Green's patterns. I think they're really interesting, architecturally interesting. All right, moving on, because there's quite a parade here. I finished my Sunday night socks.
Oh, nice.
Can you see that? I modified the pattern. These are by Jackie Perada, JP Knits One, who is one of our subscribers. So Jackie finally finished it. Yay. I modified it. Jackie wrote it so that the entire leg was in this rib. And I thought, gosh, this pattern, this cable, which is around the front, there you can see it better even, is so pretty. I don't want it just on the foot. I want to see it on the leg, because depending on what shoes I wear, my whole foot's covered up. And so I did it down the whole front, and I did one color, and I did her heel just as she described, knit it in. And these are sock weight yarn that I had won in a giveaway from Mandy's Making. And they are her sport weight, and the color is called a Firm Foundation. Now, the thing I'm going to be interested in is to see how they wear, because they do not have nylon in them. And often my socks, I use a yarn that has nylon in it, but that was really fun knit. Okay, the next one is a project I knit in my first time using Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift. As you can see, used black and what they called natural white. I think that's all that I have left. I ordered these from Little Knits Seattle, which is a fantastic online retailer. They have amazingly discounted, great yarns at amazing discounts. Like, they rotate them. So Definitely.
What's the name of this website
Little
again?
Little Knits Seattle.
Okay.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I finished my Antha shawl.
Oh, I love it.
Which is by
So
Natasha
good.
Hornby, Moonstruck Knits.
Mm.
And I fixed the error. Thank you
So-
to everybody who, maybe I'll wear it. It's a very large shawl. So it's like a bulky one or just a drapey one. That's not going to stay on long because it's too warm for indoors right now. And it's a 3-color design, but I knit it in 2. I just did not want a 3rd color. And I just wanted something in black and white. I made a mistake. It's mosaic knitting, and I had carried one of the yarns I wasn't supposed to across one of these white blocks. I had a black strand. Thank you to everybody who gave me suggestions of how to fix it. I didn't have a lot of slack to be able to pin it or tack it down to one of these other black lines. So I ended up cutting it and attaching some more of the black yarn to it and weaving it in, and it seems fine. This is a very toothy yarn. It's all, I don't even know where I put, it's well, I would think it's 100% Shetland wool. Doesn't say. But it's very easy to spit splice, which is really, really nice when you don't want to weave in ends. So highly recommend. Definitely, if you're considering one of Natasha's patterns, I earlier in the year knit the Lune. This is a much easier, faster knit than the Lune. Okay, moving on. I just posted a photo in our Instagram account today. I knit little ornaments. So make sure as I go through, you eye them because one of them is coming to each of you. I wasn't going to let you pick, but these are part of Hatvent 2019. This is a pattern by Jodi Brown, who is, or Mrs. Brown's bag. She's Jodi from the
Grocery Girls.
Oh my God, this is so cute.
They're so cute.
There are 6 patterns. Oh, that's a little floppy. 6 different patterns based on her human size head hats. And she turned them into little ornament sizes. And I mostly used some of my Chelsea Luxe Advent yarns left from last year. And I knit, this is 10 of them. I've already given away 2.
How
those
long
are
does
going
each one
in
take
some
to
of
make?
my holiday gifts this year.
How long does each one take you to make? Just curious.
Maybe about an hour, maybe a little more. It just depends on the pattern because some of them have multiple colors. The ones that are single color are faster. You hold fingering yarn double. So you could use, or I mean, it's an ornament. You could use DK, you could use worsted. You knit them on a size 7. And I knit the magic loop. The pom-poms take longer, but my daughter helped me out. I got Pom-Pom Maker and she was having fun with it. And I said, oh, do you think
$5 a pom-pom?
Yeah.
So that is, those are a lot of fun. I'm not planning to keep those, but I am planning to knit some for myself. That was actually the intention, and then they became gifts. And the last FO is my Flare Day blanket. I'm not opening the whole thing. It's, as you can see, I have a few ends to weave in. That is the 2021.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I finished the square, so I'm calling it I'm calling it an FO, but it's not done. I am going to attach an I-cord border as soon as I finish pretty much all of my current whips. So I want to get that done this year. But those are
That's great. Good for you.
Wow.
You're ahead of schedule. It was supposed to be.
Yeah.
You
I realized it needed a border to finish it. And so I decided that Thanksgiving Day was my gift to myself. I started, instead of doing 1 square day, I started doubling up and doing 2. And then the long weekend, well, no, I guess my family was in quarantine. And so we were stuck home. So the benefit to that was I was able to knit a few more squares in a given day.
Nice.
But for the last 2 months, I'd been targeting 2 squares a day, and that helped me get. So there are 20 squares across, 20 squares down. They are 20 stitches by 20 stitches. And it will be a really good memory for this crazy year.
Good for you. Congrats.
Well done.
Thank you.
Kate.
I also have a bunch of FOs. So my first FOs are a Hattie beanie by We Are Knitters. And I looked on the site this morning because occasionally they will sell just their patterns. Usually you have to get their patterns. You only can get their patterns with their kits. And they're having a sale right now. I think it's just 48 hours where you can get the pattern on its own. I looked up this pattern and I couldn't find it anywhere on the website. So I don't know if they still make it or they don't make it, but it is adorable. So these were knit in the We Are Knitters, the cotton. And that looks like this. And I have enough in the skein to make one, maybe two more hats from each skein. This was the 0 to 3 month size.
Well, and maybe that person would have triplets.
Yeah, I also used a Pom-Pom Maker. This is, I borrowed it from Laura, and I used the smallest size one. I have the larger size ones, but they were way too big. And I actually started off trying to make this size for the hats, and they were still way too big. So the smallest one was the perfect size. And
so cute.
These were made from a friend of ours who was a knitting instructor in town, and she passed away a couple of years ago from breast cancer. And her daughters gifted me some of the yarns from her stash. And this kit was in her stash that they gifted me, but it didn't have the pattern in it. So when they gifted it to me, I emailed We Are Knitters and said, listen, this is the story. I want to make these hats for her kids for when they have kids. And they don't have, I mean, they're all in their 20s now, so they're not even close to having kids, but I thought this would be a nice keepsake for them later on. And then I also, some of my other FOs are hats that I made from her stash for her kids. So this one is the Wolfie. I love this pattern. I've made it a couple of times. This is by Natasha Hornby, and it's a really fun pattern to knit.
Beautiful.
That's one. My details, I made the kids hats, these hats a while ago. So the details for what yarns I used are on my Ravelry page. This one is called the February hat. This was knit in the Pearl Soho down, flax down. And it was by Kate Gannon Osborne. And
she's from Kelborn Woolens.
Yeah, so this is the February hat was from, I think it was 2019. They did something called a year of hats, and they released one hat pattern a month, and they're all called whatever month hat, and they're all free on Ravelry, and they're beautiful, beautiful hats. So that's the second one. And then the third one is also a free pattern on Ravelry. And this is called Jason's Cashmere Hat. And this is by Melissa Thompson. So these were all yarns that were in Charlotte's stash, and they will be gifted to her family.
Nice.
So that's my first set of FOs. My second set, similar to Lorian, I had to take them off of my husband before podcasting. I did ask him if he would like to make a guest appearance wearing them, and he said, no, thank you. So these are called, I think, Orem. I'm not sure that's how you say it, but they are by Yoslanda Teague, and they're slippers. The sole is 3 strands of yarn held together, and then the upper body is 2. So they're very warm, and he's always cold because I'm always hot. So I keep the house pretty cold. So he loves them. I actually gave them to him for his birthday, which was Thanksgiving week. So that's my second project that I finished.
Kate, do you knit those like a sock? Like, do you have to do the
actually? No, it's really interesting. I am not a sock knitter.
I know, that's why.
So you start with something called, let me see, I think I wrote it down actually. Judy's Magic Cast On. And so you start and you start like in the center here of the foot, and then you go around and around, and there's some short row shaping, and you keep going around and around and around till you finish the sole part, and then you do the shaping for the foot. So there are short rows involved. They're supposed to be wrap and turns. I did German short rows. I can never find the wrap and turns to pick them up afterwards. Although in this pattern, I don't believe you have to pick up the wraps, she said. But anyway, I just did the German short rows and they worked. So it was interesting. It was actually something different that I had never done before. I used Very Pink Knits tutorial for the Judy's Magic Cast On. And it was kind of a cool thing to learn.
Yeah, it is a very common toe up sock cast on, actually, to start your toes. So it's a way of sort of knitting in two directions and growing outwards.
It's almost like a Kitchener while you're knitting, sort of ish, right? Like it's two sides at the same
you're
time.
knitting. Yeah, it then allows you to knit in both directions. I'll show you because I have a pair of socks on the needles in my whips that used it.
So those were really fun. I would recommend that pattern. The next thing I knit, I've knit these before actually, are the Frostbite mitts. And I knit them in the Valley Yarns Taconic, which is a wool, 70% wool, 30% cashmere blend. And I knit them 2 at a time, because that's how I do all of my sleeves and mittens and things now. I did not do Rich's slippers 2 at a time. They're too bulky. So I did them 2 at a time, and these are going to be a gift. They're very cozy. This yarn is beautiful. The color I have, I don't know if you can see all those flecks in it. It's called Gray Multi. And out of the second ball of yarn, because I had 2 balls, and when you knit them 2 at a time, you have to separate the 2 balls. So instead of separating them, I just used half. I knit the Blue Sky Fibers 1 cable mitts. And I've knit these before also.
Those are nice. I like the long.
Yeah, they're cute. So they're very cozy and comfy, and I like fingerless gloves. I walk the dog every day, and I like my fingers. Like I like to be able to hold the leash like with my hands. I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, so those were fun. So those are another gift. And then I have this. Let me just find the bottom of it. This.
Oh, I like that.
So this was a collaboration of Molly Girl Yarns and Lucky Fox Knits. It's Lucky Fox Knits pattern and Molly Girl Yarns yarn. And she put together little kits that you could buy. And the inside is it's like a plastic ball ornament, and it comes with the skein inside of it and this little hanger, and it has a cute little card with it, and attached to the card is a stitch marker. So I actually bought these little kits for the knitters in the class that I teach, and gave them to each of them as a little holiday gift. But it was really
adorable.
Aren't they cute? It was really fun to make.
And the yarn has a little stellina in it or something?
Yes, can you see it?
Yeah, it's so cute.
Yeah, so you could choose from her different bases. This is called the Diva base, and that's the one with the sparkles in it. And they were very reasonable, and they're just adorable. So I actually have one more to knit up for myself, because I only had 7 or 8 in my group. And so I got the multi-pack, and I texted or I emailed with Angela from Molly Girl Knits, and she was so nice to pack up each ornament in the multi-kit individually for gifting. So I didn't have to do it once they arrived. So that was really nice of her. But they're very fun to do. So I think there are a few more of those in my future. And those are all of my FOs right now.
You've been busy.
I have been busy. And it's just like little things. I have not been able to focus, or I just don't have the mindset right now since the forager to work on something large at this point. So again, I'm back to all the little things like our make along that we did earlier in the quarantine.
I feel like that's the way it goes, you know,
Yeah.
you're all in sweaters, or you need a little breather, or not knitting at all. So
Yeah.
it is what it is, Kate. It's all
That's
good.
right. That's right.
Laura, how about you?
Well, I'm in the exact same phase. First of all, gift knitting because it's the time of year, but also feeling like I don't want to take on any big projects. Probably in January I will, but full on gift knitting. So I will try to be fairly quick. I made
I love this
beautiful scarf for my husband. I'm not sure where he is in the house right now. And this is the Tuffnut. It's TOUGHNUT, Tuffnut Scarf by Martha Wissing Designs. And if you recall, I knit my oxalis in Stolen Stitches Nua worsted, and this is in the Nua Sport, which I absolutely love. It's really soft and cozy. I love the colors. It was so fun to knit because you do garter, then you do a section of, you know, a little bit of texture, and you just keep going and mixing it up. And it was really fun and quick to knit. I hope that goes over well.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm really happy. I haven't blocked it yet because I don't want to leave it somewhere where he'll be like, who's that for? Because when my knitting's in my lap, like at night, I don't think he pays any attention to what I'm knitting. But if I block it on the dining room table, which is where I often do, he would probably ask the question.
What's
Secondly,
the section, Laura? Do you pick up, like when you knit a section, do you then like pick up stitches, or just how do you? You know what I mean?
you just change colors. It's just knit across.
Is it all in the same direction though?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, it's all just knit from one end to the other.
oh.
And these, you just, you know, you do 2 colors and you just wrap, you know, each time, you know, so the back of it, it's hard to see, but you wrap the, you know, you twist the colors so that there's no hole. Then I also made fingerless mitts, seems to be a theme. These are the Biblio Gloves, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I had a beautiful skein I got with you guys. I think we were all there at the New England Fiber Festival. This is, it's so hard to see. It's like a very sort of rosy pink. And this is that Long Island Livestock Company, and they do a lot of shows, and their yarns are so beautiful and all sort of hand spun. And this is alpaca, silk, and merino. And I had this skein for a really long time, well, not a really long time, but a year or two, and decided to make these for a good friend of mine who I've been walking with a lot and love. Just really fun, really soft, really cozy. Love. Then this one I'm a little iffy about. This is a beast. This is the Snuggle is Real by Max, and I don't know how to pronounce his Maxim SYR. I have no idea.
Sear.
I think so.
Okay. He has great sweater designs and shawls and stuff like that. And I love the name of this. This is the light gray with Scout that I had in my stash. This is actually a very, very dark navy, which is Cloudborn Fibers, Alpaca Merino. And then I got a red, that's actually this is looking a little pink on the screen, but it's a very red, it's from Alpaca Warehouse, alpaca and silk blend. But this is kind of thick. So this is for my son, my oldest son. And I was going to knit him and his girlfriend matching ones, but I was going to do the lining in a different color. But it's kind of a beast. Like
it better be cold out.
It better be cold out. But so I have to decide if I'm going to do another one or do something else. And I'll leave that. I do have one FO, but it's going with my whips, and I'll explain that next. So that's me.
Great.
Wow.
It's fun.
my
It's fun to
gosh.
knit. It's very satisfying to knit small things and move on and get excited about the next thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So my segment will be very short. I probably mentioned it before, but I work at a garden nursery, and I've been working a ton. I think last week I worked almost a 50-hour week.
Wow.
So I know, hence this dark circles, and I love it. And I'm
Yes.
making other things there. I get to use my hands. We make wreaths and garlands. We do people's planters. I've got a ton of sap on my hands, which makes it difficult to knit. So
No mohair.
exactly. It's like
It's like Christmas vacation. When Sorry.
Exactly. So I did Thanksgiving. We went up to Vermont for a little while, and I made 2 hats. I made the Mitra hat, and actually, I don't even know if I made that before. Anyway, I gave it to my son because he was with us, and it's at a Woolfolk. Kate made the hat last episode, I think, and a great hat.
Yeah.
And then I did the tread also. You can't really see.
I love that
Can you
one too.
see any pattern on it?
A little hard. Hold it closer, maybe.
There we go.
Oh
Can see
yeah,
it.
nice. Yeah.
Anyway, that's the tread hat, and this is by Shannon Cook. And I did this in Woolfolk also. Husband gift. So he's been asked. I don't know if he'll wear it. He's kind of like your husband, Lorianne, like doesn't really want anything, but if he does want something knit, I'm like, he wants a fingering weight sweater. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, here, I'll go down to the store and buy that one. So I made that. And
Kim, here's the Mitra.
thanks, Kate. That's what mine looks like because it's the same color.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. That's a great hat.
Yeah,
but
it is.
That is fun to make also.
Yes, I've done that one too.
And I have a couple other hats, but that will get into whips. Honestly, that's it. I was going to do a lot of knitting up in Vermont, but I got up there, we unpacked, ready to go, sat down, ready to knit, and my dog ate the knitting needles. I'll have to pull up that picture. I'll show you during whips what happened. It couldn't do any knitting without a pencil sharpener to maybe try to sharpen the points again.
Oh my God.
So that's a quick segment for me. But the next section, let's do whips. Let's find out what we're doing now. So Lorianne.
Okay, I have quite a few whips going. Some of this, the first one I'm going to show you is here. Oops. It is the 24 stripe 2020 Advent 24 stripe skein from the Cozy Knitter. This is her 3rd year doing them. It's a self-striping sock. And the idea is that you knit a stripe every day during Advent. My family is observing Advent hardcore. So you can follow, if you're interested at all, hardcore commercially, not spiritually. I just thought, first of all, I have gotten an Advent, which these things, if you may or may not know, a lot of the indie dyers will do an Advent of yarn, and it might be 24 days, 25 days, 12 days, 5 days. I've experienced all of them. Last year I ordered mine from Chelsea Yarns. This year I ordered from Tara Lynn, Playful Day Yarns, and I ordered a few other things. So I just sort of saw this pop up in my feed. I have not been knitting socks generally for a good while. And I thought this would be really fun. What I want to say about this is it's a much, clearly you're buying 1 skein of sock yarn. I think it's a generous skein. I want to say it's 120 grams. You may even be able to get 2 socks out of that. So you receive your package, and this is her 3rd year. I think she said, I was listening to, her name is Christina. There's a beautiful note inside as well, the band. And I've been watching her, she's vlogging. I've been watching her vlogs. I think she said that in her first year, 2018, she sold 600. Last year, she sold 900 of these 24 stripes. This year, she sold 1,500.
Wow.
Good for her.
So I just finished, as we were chatting, knitting day 6. Today would actually be day 5, but I have to knit a day in advance in order to record it the next morning when we open our Advent. So my toes are in Cascade Heritage. So Heritage, I think it's Heritage sock, I think is what they call it. Anyway, it was just a white. I used this in a sweater. I had some white. And so you knit a stripe every day. I'm knitting them on ones. I like a snug sock. I knit these several times. I started with a 60 stitch sock. That's kind of a way you talk about socks. These are toe up. That's my Judy's Magic cast on. It makes for a totally seamless, no garter ridges, moving in both directions up cast on. I did need to review the tutorial because it's been a couple years since I'd used it. And I was not happy. I could not sleep. I think I'd knit 2 or 3 stripes and I was like, 60 stitches, I know does not give me the fit that I like. I spent a summer knitting socks and I keep threatening to do a separate video, which I will, because it's too long of a story to include in our group. And I know I like a 48 stitch sock. I like a snug fit when I'm doing just these stockinette. And that's the nice thing. Once you get going, you just keep on going. I have never knit striping socks though. So the other thing was I had to get my skeins to match up. And I don't know, I had a weird, harder time than I should have. So I'm in action. They mostly match. One is turning colors a little bit differently. But I'm so glad that I switched. Our local friend Carla is knitting these as well. She is a nurse and she's probably busy working these days. So she knits a little bit out of order, but these are fun.
I'm going to be right back. I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to go do something. I'll be right back.
Okay. Sure. These are the skeins. There are a lot of different colors in here. They seem to be kind of heavily red and green and purple so far. So I'm having fun with that because knitting, for me, that is about 6 or 7 rows. I think it's 6.5 rows of each stripe. That's 25 minutes for me in the morning or whatever during the day of knitting. So that's the Advent socks. I will probably do an afterthought heel also in the white yarn, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do with the cuffs. I haven't decided how long I'm going to go. I may get a second pair of socks out of them. I probably will because my socks don't even take a full 100-gram skein. 60 grams is even probably more than I need. So, but I wanted to try it. I'm glad to support Christina. She's out of Toronto. That's the Advent socks. Oh, the Cozy Knitters Advent socks. I also knit, and this is a whip. Not that I have to knit anymore, but I have 2 of them. I had my other sock blocker using my other sock. These are the Advent socks by Natalie Sheridan. She is Remembrances Pottery. She did a sock design last year. I don't know if you can see. This was supposed to be like places where we live. And each of these motifs, you're supposed to knit on a different type. You see there's a big hole where the heel goes in. They need some finishing work. There's like apartment buildings and tall skyscrapers, and these are supposed to be shops. And then you're supposed to, the design calls for adding, well, here you could see on that one, I added a little bit of duplicate stitch in that tree. So you put some like red balls in the tree or yellow lights. It's a free pattern in yellow in the little windows.
It's cute.
And this is totally not something I generally have the patience to do. This is, I don't know. I had the scrap yarn. I was kind of interested. Of all the socks I've knit, I've never done Fair Isle. And these are her ones for this year. She had a pattern from last year. I started them. These are a little loose for me. These are a 70 stitch sock. With Fair Isle, I used a much larger needle. Also, I used a 2.5 versus like a 1. What else do I have to say? It's been fun. I need to learn to duplicate stitch so they're not done, but I'm not really rushing. I sort of put the socks aside now that they're knit. They need some cleanup work. And I don't know how to duplicate stitch. My daughter started this for me. She knows embroidery, and then she got fed up. So there's no time for getting fed up. So those are still a whip. I just have the cast on here because I had to rip the whole thing out. I'm knitting a gift knit, and I'm just going to show you a little piece of, that's the hat I'm knitting. Pat, don't
cute.
look, you already picked it, so you know what it looks like. This is Patty's hat. I am using Knit Picks Gloss, which is their DK weight yarn, and it's 70% merino wool and 30% silk.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a lovely yarn. I would not generally use this for Fair Isle. I don't like silk in Fair Isle. I know you can, but the recipient is a little selective in the fiber that she receives. So I've already knit this hat entirely. It was too big. And this is, I know, this is a pretty heavyweight, thick DK, and it calls for knitting it on a 6 and an 8. It was just too large. My son put it on this morning. He has a massive melon head, and it was large on him. So so this is a gift knit that I have to get through, but I probably will have knit it and shipped it before we record again. So you'll see it on my phone if I remember to take a picture. Sheaf. Oh. Mitten. It's a mitten.
Cute.
So in addition to the hat, so my intention was really to knit for, our house is covered in the holiday decoration. We took it out Thanksgiving weekend. We just needed to get in a more festive mood. And this is from a pattern called Knitted Advent Calendar by Alison, Perada, Knapp. I had it in my queue from last year. It has scarves, socks, hats, and mittens, and a star. And it's supposed to be for counting the days to Advent, and you move this unit 1 star, unit 6 of all the others. I just think this is so cute. I want to make a garland. I have very little, I have so much decor, but very little of it is handmade. So I ordered, you can see I didn't order at Knit Picks. I ordered some palette because I wanted to try it. It's a Peruvian Highland wool, 100%. And I ordered pink, green, red, and a light pink. Those will be my colors. And I'm gonna also mix in some mint. So I'm going to finish that. My goal is just to finish it at some point before Christmas. And I'm gonna add some of the hats from the Hatvent
Cute.
hat that I already have.
Are you gonna make any mini sweaters too?
No.
There are lots of patterns.
That's just too much. That just seems like too much work. Like a mitten is not, you know. So no, I don't. These don't actually include sweater designs in them. And then the last thing is with my, I needed this. I did not need this, but I saw the pattern and I really liked it, and it's going on now. So Amber O'Brien is one of, I think all of us really like her patterns, and she designed a bunch of patterns for Advent, for use or to knit during Advent. This is called the Rad Vent Throw. And you take your mini skein. This was today's color from Tara Lynn. It was called Pumpkin Latte. And you start in the middle. That, I think I started yesterday's. I decided to start with day 4. That's when I decided I was going to knit this. You knit a square a day, another square a day. But this is different. So it's going to be a little larger. You block them, you put them all together. And what really got me is Tara Lynn shared that there was and this is not at all surprising, there's a thoughtful approach to the order of the colors as you open them in her Advent calendar. So I was like, all right, that needs to be a project altogether then. And it will just be nice because hopefully I will see if I can, yeah, that's it. I'll see if I can keep up with one a day. This is very manageable to knit, 6 stripes on a sock a day. This one, I will share though, one of the things that makes it really nice, because I'm not a big double pointed needle person for knitting. This is incredibly tedious getting it on the needles. And I'm using I think it's called the pinhole cast on. I also saw, I don't remember her name. Pancake and Lulu. Do you remember her name? I can't remember her name off the top of my head. No. She was knitting this with her Advent. She's a dyer. Anyway, I don't need to open it, but I'm using these, which are I start on my double points because I don't know what else to do with 8 stitches. And then I move quite quickly to my 16-inch, but they have a short needle That makes a really big difference when you have a short tip in a short circumference needle, and it makes it manageable. So I've knit one square. I started with 4, day 4, today's day 5. And those are my whips.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why everything is shaking here.
I don't know, it might be your table. I'm not sure.
It's the same, yeah.
Okay. Kate, what are your whips?
Well, I was going to say I didn't have one, but I just cast one on. So
While Lorianne was discussing hers.
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So I actually am making, I showed it, I think 2 weeks ago. I don't have the finished hat here, but I'm making the super easy, super bulky slouch hat by Karen Altabeth. She's from Pick Up Every Stitch. So I bought the yarn. It's Rasta Unicorn Bark at Pick Up Every Stitch, and you get the free pattern when you buy the yarn there. And so that's
Nice.
that will be a hat.
That's so funny that you just
3 rows in.
Yeah, good job.
You'll be finished by the time we're done.
Well, that's okay. There we go. I have a whip.
Congratulations. Laura, what are your whips?
All right. So I have a son who lives in Colorado, and he's been asking me to make him a hat for a long time. And he has 2 housemates, one of whom I know very well because he lives on the East Coast near us. And when they're home, he's at my house a lot. And Grant was like, yeah, will you knit one for me? And Roger wants one too. I'm like, yeah, okay, hat, no big deal. And then a few days later, he's like, yeah, well, I'm feeling really bad because John, his 3rd housemate, will feel left out. And if I've met John, I've met him once briefly, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so I am knitting. This is pretty much finished. This is the tincture hat.
Oh yeah. It looks so different in that colorway.
Yeah. So one of the requests was I had to alter the pattern a little. The pattern calls for just like an inch and a half brim, but they're 23, and I guess, I don't know, maybe it's cool out in Colorado that, they have to have the folded brim. So I finished one. This one's actually for John, and I'm on the brim of the next one for Roger, which is going to be gray with blue. And then the 3rd one is going to be, I haven't decided which order. This one's for Grant, my son. It's like a very mustardy yellow and a cream, which is very similar to
her pattern.
Color that it's an Andrea Mowry pattern, and she does it in Arbor. But I knew I changed yarns. I actually had this blue from something else that I thought I was going to use it for, and I didn't. And it's this my rip tag, BC Garn Samilla Melange. And my only fear is it's a little toothy, and I'm hoping with a really nice, good soak that it'll soften up a little bit, because I would never want something itchy on my forehead. But anyway, I think it feels kind of soft. It feels a little bit like loft, that it feels a little scratchy when it's new, but once you soak it. So I'm really hopeful that when I soak and block these, they'll get just a little bit softer. But
the gray is the same as the blue. The gray yarn. The gray and the blue yarns are the same.
They're all the same brand yarn. I got 6. So I had the blue, and that kind of sent me off on a, I'm just going to, and these skeins are longer than the Arbor skeins. And because I knew I was going to need a little extra, it just worked out better to buy yarn that had more yardage in it. But really, really fun. I mean, this totally goes in the short, quick, satisfying knit category. But I'm hoping that blocks out a little bit better than it looks right now. I haven't.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, it looks really sort of puckered. And I'm wondering if I knit it too tightly there, because I was really kind of. Anyway, I need to go out and get
kind of laughing, thinking about those 3 boys walking down the street with hats on, and
Honestly, I don't think they'll ever really be together. But I certainly am hoping once I finish these, I'm hoping for a photograph, which I will share. I'm assuming I'll get a photograph of the 3 of them wearing them. But
how do you block your hats, Laura?
Well, I was just going to say I have on my grocery list to buy balloons, because I've heard that that's the best way. But it's going to be a little challenging because you can't see it in this. But I want this to block really straight, and it tends to go on a diagonal. And I don't know, like, I feel like the only way I can do that is by blocking it flat on a board and pinning it and having it be straight. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to play around with that, but they're really fun. And I think it's a really cute hat. It's gonna look terrible on me.
I've toyed with buying one of those, mannequin heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see people doing it. They're probably not that expensive.
Oh, it's cute, Laura.
Oh, that is cute.
Yeah, I'm not so sure it's cute on me, but
no, it is.
It's
I like
cute.
it. I never block my hats.
I don't either.
Neither do I.
I've never blocked a hat.
Me neither. I did once, and it stretched it out way too much.
Yeah.
Huh.
Never,
I like a tight hat.
ever.
Mhm.
It's
Maybe
like a swatch.
maybe steam the top.
Yeah, what is that?
Maybe steam the top and see.
I
And
just
then you could
realized,
block the bottom
shoot.
if you want to.
Realize that my end there, this yarn breaks. I
Oh,
realize that my cast on edge there.
well, that's for the kid you don't really know. So
All right, well, I'll have to see how that goes. But
put
anyway,
tape on it.
Oh,
a little duct tape will fix it.
Little duct tape.
no.
Fix everything. Anyway, I'm excited. Those are just fun to knit.
That's good.
Kim, do you have any whips?
I do have a whip. I have my rug that I've been working on, and that I wanted. So this is what happened to my needles. Can you see the rug to the tips at the?
Yeah.
Yeah, that did not work well for knitting, especially with the toothy wool like this.
Better the needles than the wool,
Definitely,
right?
Definitely, Lauren can contest to that.
100%.
So yeah, I'm coming along with my rug.
Ooh.
Oh, looks good.
Yeah. It's fun to knit. The color work's fun. I don't like carrying my floats that long, but I am, and I'm not picking them up either because.
Okay. Because that's another sort I've been kind of obsessing about, and I keep seeing it popping up.
Nice.
Ooh. And one of the things that I saw some people do is on the very top and the bottom, the little crosses that are really far apart, they actually just put more crosses in.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because they're really far spaced apart. And because that's got to be the longest carry that you have is between.
Yeah,
those, right?
there's a couple. Yeah, I mean, some of them are so long, but I've really been knitting it loosely. Carrying the floats long and loose. And honestly, it's going to be a throw on really cold day sweater. So it's more of an overcoat than a sweater. So as long as I keep it loose. So I had to wait till the day after Thanksgiving to run down to the store in Vermont that sold needles. And thank God. Otherwise I would have had nothing to do up there. God forbid. God forbid. So I'm working on that. And what else? Whips. No, I'll show you my acquisitions, and I have a couple other things ready to cast on today. I couldn't do it during the podcast, but so let's go to acquisitions if anybody has anything. Lorianne?
Yes, I have a couple of little things. So I won an Instagram giveaway of some holiday stitch markers by, her name's Anastasia. She's from Belarus. So these came all the way from Belarus.
Wow.
And I'm going to show them one by one. That's the wrong side.
Oh,
Those
cute.
are cute.
Mystery. And I've used this one already. Oh, they're picking them up backwards a little.
Oh, cute.
And then this one's on here. It is a mitten. Let me get that.
Oh, those are very sweet.
Aren't they sweet?
Yeah.
So she goes by this TaukinsBY, Etsy, and they arrived pretty quickly. I'd say like within 2 weeks. And she has her name on her ribbon, which is really sweet too.
Oh.
So that was just a pleasant, put me in the holiday mood with my knitting. And I also won, so I just wanted to talk about this because even though I've mentioned it probably every day in my Advent. So I'm putting my Advent openings on my Instagram stories, Instagram TV, I think it is, IGTV, because it's about 2 to 3 minutes a day, rather than on our YouTube channel. And my whole family has, each of us, I just thought we needed, my daughter was really like in a bummer of a place with COVID. She had to get tested 1 week, and then I had to get tested 1 week, and then my son came home from college and he was in a situation, and it just was like causing her to shut down with the stress of it and the isolation. And so I said, you know, we all really need something. I already had my Advent coming from Tara Lynn, and I also ordered an Advent from Hub City Fibers from Lillian. Hers is a 5-day, so you won't see me open that until later this month. And I ordered Nora, my daughter, a beauty Advent from Glossy Box, and I ordered my son a jerky, like a beef jerky, different flavors, Advent, from Man Crates, which I had never heard of, but now I get advertisements for them, of course, now that I've ordered for them. And we put my husband together a singles beer Advent. So we went for the big box liquor store and just picked out singles, picked out 4 mixed sixes and some, hopefully, and then he has a little rating chart. So some he's only enjoyed 1 so far. He's already told me he won't even drink the one he opened today because he's had that before. But we're all having fun with it. It's just giving everybody a little smile to start their day with, and we open them all together. I mean, it's not like we don't know what they will be. My daughter's is a little bit more surprising. We don't know what she'll get. She had perfume today. She had eye mask stuff. Anyway, that's not knitting, but mine is. So anyway, if you're interested, I'm not going to show all of that here. I'm showing those on my Instagram account. And I think, oh, the other one, so I also won a mini skein a day through an Instagram contest. And these are put together by a woman named Missy, who lives in the Philly area. And I was not familiar with this until I saw the contest. And she puts together, she takes donations. People, you participate by donating some of your used, use your scrap or whatever, or your not used yet, yarns, fingering weight, and she reskeins them into like 8-gram minis and then packages them up, sometimes puts them, a little goodie, like I had a peppermint chapstick in one day, and packages them up and is doing these like really cute things. Like a couple of days ago, you had to look inside the package at where your yarn came from, and then you had to measure the distance geographically. Mine was from New Zealand, and put in Instagram how far away it was, how many miles away it was, and whoever would live the furthest from wherever their yarn came from got some other prize. So it's just really fun. I think it's like recycling, upcycling. I mean, obviously there's packaging in her repacking, but all of them skeining up. And I think I want to say maybe there are 20 or so, 25 people who participated. I would definitely participate now that I know about it. So
sounds like
having fun.
Yeah.
Those are your acquisitions then?
Yes.
Those are good. That is a cute idea. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah.
Kate, what do you have?
Well, I bought the Molly Girl yarn ornaments, and then came Cyber Monday, and we'll talk about that later. Nothing's here yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm like, later when? Because we're on acquisitions. No.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll look forward to it.
Yes.
Laura, any acquisitions there?
So one of the sweaters that I've been obsessing about is by My Favorite Things, and it's sweater number 11.
I love that one.
Like
I know,
killer.
I have it on
she she's Danish. Danish, yep. And I don't really know what the scoop is because Petite Knit is also Danish, correct? And they have
very similar.
Like, I don't know if they're friends or rivals. I don't know what's going on, but they have very, very similar styles, very sort of classic, basic, but very similar. They do vests, they do, yeah. So my obsession with that, as well as the fact that I have a sweater's worth, and I've had this for maybe 2 years, this Durham Natura Gilliat in this forest green that I bought for another sweater and I changed my mind. And that sweater number 11 calls for a worsted with a mohair. And it's well documented. My frustration, Lorianne doesn't like it either with mohair, but I was really trying to come up with something to go with this. And I was looking for a suri alpaca, and I was checking all kinds of things. And then, ta-da! This I found at Fibre Co, and it is Emilia and Philomene, and it is a suri alpaca and silk. It's definitely fuzzy, but I not 100% sure, but I'm gonna swatch.
What's that?
Those, and that might be my first sweater in January. If I definitely am gonna swatch, because I had to buy 3 skeins of this, and it's either gonna be a love or hate. And if I hate, I'll return the 2 skeins. Obviously I won't be able to return 1, but so that's my most recent. Oh, and the only other thing, my other gift knitting, and I've mentioned this before, this Fibre Company one sock. So I really do want to get into socks, and I tried one, which is still on my needles, and I think I was a little too ambitious, but this, the Fibre Company did this whole thing, and it comes with like a guidebook on fit and techniques, and anyway, and it calls for, what did I just do with it? Fibre Company Amble.
Oh.
And I have 2 of my sons, I have 3 sons, 2 of my sons have said, please make us some socks. So I got a bunch of colors.
I love that green.
Which I thought were good, like boy colors, because if you, they give you like all kinds of ideas to do, like, I had a photograph here, like, oh yeah, here, like to do stripes and color blocks. So with those 4 skeins, I'm gonna have some fun and maybe become a sock knitter. I'm gonna try.
Is your goal to be done with those by Christmas, or is that?
That might be ambitious. I think I've already got a lot on my plate but I think they'll still love them if they get them in January. So
Exactly. Who doesn't want a gift in January?
I know, exactly.
Right.
I might get some knit, but with these 4 skeins, I should be able to do quite a few. And you know, they kind of, I loved how all the colors combine, and
I love the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really nice yarn. It's a little toothy. It's definitely it's a sock yarn. It's got wool, alpaca, and nylon, and it just, I think I'm gonna try to have fun. And I already did a measurement of my one son's foot. I've got the width and the circumference and the length.
Wow.
So at some point I'm gonna cast those on and really try to learn how to
Maybe
knit.
Lauren could get her sock videos out before then, Laura.
Well, you like toe up, don't you?
Well, you know, I think what I would say about sock knitting is I think it's very personal, and there are a lot of variations just within knitting socks. And so I didn't really figure out what I liked, my preferences, until I actually did them. Right. So I've done toe up, I've done pub down, I've done many different, heels, different types of yarns, and, patterned or textured socks versus just the straight, vanilla.
And I think one of the biggest things is how you knit them, what kind of needles. And I tried those, I forget what they were called, those.
Oh yeah, the
bendy, flexi flips. And I'm not sure I love those. So I actually, in order to do these, I got, I think they're 9-inch nails. 9-inch nails, that's a band, not needles.
Yes, yeah.
9-inch needles. I got a 1 and a 1.5, because that's what this, so I'm going to try that. I don't know, I know you would tell me to do 2 at a time, but I think especially to start, it might be a little too much for me. I think
I agree.
I'm a little more comfortable, I'll do 2 at a time, but just to kind of get, so anyway, I think it's figuring out, because I think it's the fiddliness of it and the smallness of it for somebody who knits a lot of other stuff that is, it's tough for me. That's what I'm struggling with, is not the actual construction or the patterns or anything. It's how to be comfortable knitting something, this big around.
Yeah. Totally. And yes, between double points, magic loop, 9-inch circulars, it's just so much variety just within sock knitting. So, so that's what, and I think it's just a matter of personal preference, because certain patterns can be changed, you know, no matter, depending on how they're written, you can reverse them. So, and then just sort of deciding, okay, you can love this pair of socks, but they're shoving it in a shoe and my pants are long. So what's the most important thing to me, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to starting that exploration and trying to figure out how I want to knit them, which I think is
I do want to say, I watched Christy Glass, since you're talking about socks, I watched her interview with Earth Tones Girl. I don't even know her real name, but I know that's what she goes by. And she is a sock knitting teacher. And I would take her class. Like, she's really passionate about it. And she seems to teach it in a way that is very, not that I took her class, I just in listening to her, I felt like, wow, you know, certainly I would learn some things. And it made me think of you, Laura, in case you know, if this doesn't pan out, it might be fun to.
What does she go by? Earth Girl?
Earth Tones
Girl.
Earth Tones Girl. I'll look at the Christy Glass thing.
Yeah, it was like in the last week or two.
Because I just think it's such a great gift idea. Who doesn't want a nice pair of, even if you don't wear them in shoe, even if you just wear them around the house. And
yeah, you're right. It is a nice gift to get or make for yourself. So I have just 2 small acquisitions. My daughter, so I made a hat for Jay, made a hat for John for Thanksgiving. I had made a hat for Emma a couple years ago, and it was one of my favorite hats ever. It was the Kepler hat by Pam Allen. So it was that one. And I put a fur pom-pom on it. And I just loved that hat. And so did she. She actually, the hat's been around the world. You know, she took it out when she did her semester at sea. So she came home for Thanksgiving and she's like, oh, her roommate's dog ate the hat. She's like, I'm going to make her a new one. And so I picked up some more quince. It's Phoebe. And this time she chose actually this color. It's more, I did it in this one the first time, which is called Jupiter. And it's this time it's Luna, and it's a little more blue to it than gray. So I'm going to cast that on today. And I had to borrow a needle from Kate because I cannot find my, what was it, 6? I think it was, Kate.
Away from
6 anywhere. So
I'll let Remy near it.
I know, it maybe I think that's what Remy likes to do, is eat wooden needles now. So that hat is, I'm happy to make that again because I just loved it so much. But that's it for acquisitions. I think I talked about the wool folk last time that I bought for more hats to make. So I've got to get my rear and gear and start knitting, but hopefully I'll have a quieter week this week. But before we finish up our podcast, I want to talk about our celebration of friendship giveaway that we had. We did pick 2 winners on November 30th. It was Cheryl and Sally, and they're from Michigan. And Sally nominated Cheryl, and her comment mentioned that Cheryl was an inspiration to her because she converted her campground into a knitting retreat. And Cheryl, get ready. We're going to come when the time is right. So we can't wait to visit. I can't wait to visit anyone at this point. But a knitting retreat on a campground sounds like fun.
It does.
So thank you for Tara Lynn for her generous donation, and for Lorian for your generous donation. And hopefully Sally and Cheryl will enjoy their treats coming their way. But before we end, the comments were beautiful about nominating friendships. And luckily it was random numbers, because it would have been too hard to pick on our own. So thank you for participating. Thank you again to Tara Lynn. And we look forward to doing another giveaway soon, because it's fun to give stuff away.
It is.
It's fun. So I think we're all set here. Hope maybe we'll get one in before Christmas. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. We'll try.
We'll
How
try.
about that? We'll try. So I hope everyone has a great day and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Any last comments, girls? Anything?
No.
All good.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks. Like and subscribe. We forgot to say that.
Thank you.
So thanks everybody.
Bye.
Take care.